Now, I think there are two kinds of subtext, circumstantial subtext and emotional subtext, but in order to make strong choices about either, you need to grasp the context about both first. Hey friends, John here, and welcome to The Martial Actor. Today we're going to be talking about how to read subtext in 4 steps. In my previous video about auditioning, which you can check out here, I stated one of the strong ways to make choices was to read the subtext. And I got a few comments asking about how to do that, so we're going to go over it. Step number 1 is to grasp. When I say grasp, I mean you need to grasp the context. That is, before you can read subtext, you have to understand the circumstances of the world in which your character lives. Contextually, you have to understand what is normal or what is standard for your character. Now, I think there are two kinds of subtext, circumstantial subtext and emotional subtext, but in order to make strong choices about either, you need to grasp the context about both first. Circumstantially, I think there are a few key things to keep in mind. Any recent wars or revolutions that have been happening, the current state of artistic and scientific ideals for that society, and I would especially say societal roles concerning culture, status, and gender. Emotionally, it's a little bit harder to nail down the context of a scene, but we'll get into that later. Step number 2 is to get comfortable. For a performance, this means being memorized. It's always hard to go deeper than surface level if you're too worried about the words. And for me, I like to be memorized not until it's right, but until I can't get it wrong. Now, for a callback or an audition, this isn't always going to be possible, but I always try to at least get the words in my mouth. So, I will literally read the lines out loud, and if there are any words or phrases that are tripping me up, I will just segment those words or phrases and repeat them out loud until they are comfortable in my mouth. That will hopefully help you from getting tripped up during your audition or callback. Step number 3 is to explore. Now, this is the key step for reading subtext, and I think it's one of the most fun parts of being an actor. The best way I've found to explore is to ask the question, what follows? What is the smallest logical leap you can make in order to fill in the blanks that exist in the script? Then, what's the smallest logical leap after that? Now, you need to be careful here because the bigger the leap you take, the more buy-in you'll need from your audience in order for them to keep their suspension of disbelief. And this is especially hard in an audition or a callback because you have no buy-in from your audience. I'm going to give you an example. So let's say you have a script and you're going for a callback and you're playing like a parent or a sibling of a child. And let's say that child is missing. So the smallest logical leap that you can make from the information given in the script, that is your child or your sibling is missing, is that they stayed out too late or got lost on the way home, or maybe you could make the leap of they got kidnapped. But if you decided to endow the situation with the idea that this child was abducted by aliens, that's probably not going to be supported in your script, and your audience probably isn't going to buy it. So that would not be a strong choice to make subtextually because your leap was too big. Now, there are so many ways to explore just by asking the question, what follows? I want to go over 2 examples, the first being emotionally, and the second is within relationships. Emotionally, it's good to know that anger and sadness are always surface level emotions, meaning there's always something behind or below them. So you can ask yourself, what follows? Why is my character angry? Are they feeling scared? Are they feeling alone? Are they feeling triggered for some reason? Is there something that happened in this character's past that justifies for them this feeling of anger that they may be experiencing? For sadness, I think a lot of times there's fear behind that. For example, fear of abandonment, or fear of failure, or fear of being alone, or fear of death, or these really primal emotions that all of us feel. Subtextually, you can find so many ways to explore emotion if you just ask what follows. The next one is about the nature of your relationships. Now, relationships are so layered in real life. There are so many dimensions of a relationship. Just think about your relationships. Think about your relationships with your parents, with your siblings, with your partners, with your classmates. None of them are going to be cut and dry. None of them are going to be black and white. There are always layers. You always feel dimensions of emotion based on what's going on today, based on the history of your relationship, based on the best things that these people have done for you and that you have done for them, and the worst things that these people have done to you and you to them. Your relationships with your characters should be just as layered. So think about what follows. If my character has a scene with his parent, what follows if this certain thing happened in our past? Or what follows if I'm being reminded of a specific circumstance in this scene? Or what follows when you start to pay attention to these different layers of your relationship? Again, there are so many different ways to explore your relationships. You just have to ask what follows. Step number 4 is to commit. Once you've grasped the context, feel comfortable with the words, and have explored the subtext, all you have to do is commit to your choices. So don't be afraid. Your personality, your thoughts, your experiences, and your emotions provide you with a totally unique lens that no one else can replicate. Once you've made your decisions, keep them in mind and commit. And that can look like a lot of things. Some actors will write their subtext next to their lines. Some actors like to repeat their subtext in their mind while they're saying their lines. You can find whatever works for you. The more people you know, the more experiences you have, the more cultures that you're exposed to, all of these things will give you a pool of knowledge that you can draw from when making choices about subtext. And that's it for today, so take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you next time.